GALAXIAS brings 50 years of legendary Roland synths and drum machines together into one powerful super instrument. Access thousands of iconic sounds and freely combine authentic Roland instruments from vintage to modern. Explore supermassive GALAXIAS scenes filled with intricate layers and deep macro controls, and discover exciting new worlds with infinite creative possibilities. Roland has been a pioneer in music technology for over half a century, delivering a continuous stream of influential instruments and effects, and have fueled countless hits, defined genres, and driven cultural trends. With GALAXIAS, you can now explore and experience them in one creative environment, from historic icons such as the Jupiter 8, TR-808, and D50, to modern instruments like Xenology and the System 8. GALAXIAS harnesses Roland's evolving sonic legacy within a single intuitive workflow. The inspiring GALAXIAS interface has been carefully forged for rapid creativity and instant satisfaction. You don't need a manual to get going, and it's easy to go deep to quickly translate your ideas into great sounding tracks. In fact, GALAXIAS may well be your starting point in every creative session, and, paired with your favorite DAW, can take your music to unexplored territory. Let's take a look. GALAXIAS lets you layer up to 4 instruments to create massive sonic superclusters called scenes. Scenes can contain intricate setups of your favorite Roland instruments, such as a full stack of Jupiter and Juno synths, or multiple eras of TR drum machines locked into perfect sync. You can dial in arpeggiator patterns, quickly define key ranges and macro controls, and then play the whole thing as a single instrument, in the studio or on stage. Clicking the top display in scene mode will show you the scene library. You can load a scene from here, as well as browse, rate, and mark your favorites. Let's listen to a few scenes to get an idea of what GALAXIAS can do and what it sounds like. GALAXIAS has a simple, straightforward left-to-right workflow that's divided into 4 views. Let's look at them one by one. The Sounds view is where you can browse and search among the ever-growing collection of over 20,000 iconic Roland sounds. There are multiple ways to approach a search, depending on what you're looking for. On the right-hand side of the GALAXIAS interface is the browser, and when you're in the Sounds view, it shows you the collection of legendary Roland instruments. Let's say you're interested in the Juno 106 or TR-808. Simply by clicking on one of these will show you all the available sounds and associated packs. Or maybe you're interested in finding a specific sound type. You can click on one or more sound types at the top and see all of the available sounds within that type. You can also click on any sound pack just to see the sounds within that pack. You can even combine these criteria to expand or refine your search. Selecting Match All will narrow or refine your search based on everything you've selected. Match Any will expand your search to include everything you've selected. The preset pane in the bottom shows you all the sounds that match your search. You can even search by keyword. For instance, if you type in pop, you'll see all the sounds that have pop associated with them. Or if you type dark, you'll see all the sounds and packs with dark in the name. Keyword searches will filter among all of the sounds within the preset pane, whether it's 20 sounds or 20,000 sounds. Since GALAXIAS is a platform instrument powered by Roland Cloud, it's aware of all new sound releases, and new sounds will automatically appear in searches. even if you haven't installed them yet. Lastly, you can customize how the sounds view looks. You can collapse the types pane to show only the titles, but it's still fully functional in this state. You can also collapse or resize the packs pane depending on how much room you want for the cover art or how much room you want for the preset pane. The packs pane also has filters to show packs of various types, including new and featured packs, or packs for families of instruments. Loading sounds is easy. Once you find an instrument you like, just double-click and it will load the associated instrument into whichever layer you've selected. You'll know the layer based on its color. Once that instrument is loaded, you can audition sounds from that instrument instantly by just clicking or using your keyboard's arrow keys. If you get to an instrument that isn't loaded, just double-click or hit Enter on your keyboard. The instrument will load, and you can continue to immediately audition sounds. You can repeat this process on any or all of the 4 layers, with associated color coding to guide you. Next, let's take a look at the instrument view. This is where you get a full view of the instrument that's on any selected layer. You can work with an instrument just like you would if you were using it as a standalone plugin, with full access to controls, user presets, and more. Instruments can even auto-zoom, so they always use the maximum space you have available. If you want to really go deep into an instrument and get the feel of using the original hardware, you can click in the top right corner to enter the immersive view. This will hide the rest of the GALAXIAS UI and use the maximum real estate available for the instrument. Just exit the immersive view to return to the instrument view. You can easily toggle back and forth whenever you want. Before we move on to the other views, this is probably a good time to talk about the key range and macro knob views. You can open the GALAXIAS keyboard by clicking the icon in the bottom left. Click the Edit button to customize each layer. You can simply drag to set ranges, or there's also a handy Learn function. You can also quickly transpose from here. And of course, you can determine which MIDI device and channel each layer responds to. Click the Edit button again to close the key range editor. When you play keys, you'll see that the color gradient shows you which layers are being triggered on each key. And you can quickly close the GALAXIAS main keyboard until you need it again. The powerful macro controls in GALAXIAS give you ultra-expressive hands-on playability. You can easily assign any instrument, effect, or mix parameter to the 16 color-coded knobs and link them to a MIDI controller for real-time operation. To show the macro controls, just click the icon in the bottom left. Click Edit or double-click a knob to open the macro control editor. It's super easy to assign parameters to the knobs. Just click Link and move the parameters you want to assign, even if they're on different layers. You can assign up to 8 things to each knob. You can also invert controls and define their ranges. With the Smart Link feature, you can even do this all at once. Smart Link will detect which direction you move the instrument's controls and what range you move them, and will make these assignments automatically. Of course, you can make further adjustments if you want. While you can adjust macro controls by hand, you can also manipulate them via tempo-synced LFOs. There are a number of LFOs to choose from, and you can set the rate and depth to taste. You can even see the results on the macro knobs themselves. In the mix view, you can balance and pan your layers to give your GALAXIAS scene some extra polish. You'll see that the browser now shows effects instead of instruments. In addition to the formidable effects within each individual instrument, GALAXIAS gives you 2 insert effects per layer and 2 global send effects. There are a lot of classic Roland effects here, as well as native GALAXIAS processors. Double-click an effect to add it to any selected slot. Clicking on it will show you its interface. Each layer has its own filter, and there's also a built-in limiter and mono stereo switch here, both of which can be useful, especially when performing live. You can also route layers and buses to physical outputs or DAW channels, and even create a monitor mix that can also be sent to its own dedicated output. Along with the onboard pattern sequencers in many of the individual instruments, the sequencer view lets you pick a dedicated sequencer or pattern generator for each layer. This feature will grow with more advanced sequencer capabilities and other creative tools in future updates, but it's currently stocked with a simple yet powerful arpeggiator. Once you get all of your layers set up the way you want, You can name and save your scene so you can recall it later. You can even add custom cover art, add a description, and stay organized by placing it in a scene folder. GALAXIAS comes with dozens of professionally crafted scenes. Let's check some of them out. If you want to use GALAXIAS for a performance on stage or in the studio, you should check out the setlist feature. A setlist lets you load up multiple scenes at once, and then name and save it. When a setlist is loaded, scenes within it change smoothly and immediately. You can have as many setlists as you want. While GALAXIAS can run as a standalone instrument, it will also run as a multi-channel plugin for browsing, playing, and recording directly to your DAW. Arpeggiators, pattern sequences, and LFOs sync with the master tempo. And you can even drag and drop MIDI and audio directly to tracks with some instruments. And with the future GALAXIAS roadmap, that's only the beginning. GALAXIAS is a rapidly evolving platform instrument that will continue to improve with new sounds and capabilities added regularly. With full access to the growing library of Roland instruments and effects, and the ability to search across thousands of sounds in an instant, the GALAXIAS creative journey will only get better with time. Try GALAXIAS and start your journey today with a free trial. Go to roland.com for more information.